Hello children, I am Sunil Kumar Pandey, your English teacher from Cambridge International School, Dasua. Having finished chapter 6 of your textbook Flamingo, Poets and Pancakes by Ashok Mitran, it's time now to discuss the rounding of questions. So we begin with the box on page number 64. Question number 1 herein is, did the people at Gemini Studios have any particular political affiliations? If you remember, this was answered on page number 62. In second paragraph, most of them wore khadi and worshipped Gandhiji. But beyond that, they had not the faintest appreciation for political thought of any kind. But it has also been told that naturally they were all averse to the term communism. So the people at Gemini Studios professed allegiance to Gandhi and his thought and had all sorts of negative ideas, rumors about communism. But beyond that, they did not have any particular political affiliation. Second question is, why was the Moral Rearmament Army welcomed at the studios? If you remember, Moral Rearmament Army, or MRA, was the name of an anti-communist group that visited the Gemini Studios. However, it did not overtly preach any ideology. It only staged 2 plays there. One was named Jotham Valley and the other The Forgotten Factor. As for the question, why was its visit welcomed? If you remember, the answer was on page number 63. The staff, in first paragraph on page number 63, the staff of Gemini Studios had a nice time hosting 200 people of all hues and sizes of at least 20 nationalities. It was such a change from the usual collection of crowd players waiting to be slapped with thick layers of makeup. So this means the visit of MRA was welcomed because it provided a much needed break from the routine work at the Gemini Studios, and in addition it staged 2 very entertaining plays which were liked by all. Third question, name one example to show that Gemini Studios was influenced by the plays staged by MRA. We have been told that these 2 plays staged by the MRA very deeply influenced the Tamil theatre in the time to come. As for one influence, it was given again on page number 63. All Tamil plays had a scene of sunrise and sunset in the manner of Jotham Valley, with a bare stage, a white background curtain, and a tune played on the flute. So this one example would be plays for several years to come depicted sunrise and sunset in the manner of the play Jotham Valley. It was depicted with a bare stage, with a white background and a tune played on the flute. Fourth question, who was the boss of Gemini Studios? Its name has been mentioned at 1 or 2 places in the story. His name was Mr. S.S. Vasan. Fifth, what caused the lack of communication between the Englishman and the people at Gemini Studios? If you remember, the poet has very humorously described this experience of listening to the English poet Mr. Stephen Spender by the common workers at the Gemini Studios. He says, neither the audience nor the speaker were able to understand what they were doing there after all. So the things that impeded this communication were, one, the accent of the speaker. He was an Englishman and he spoke with an English accent which was not easily understandable by the people at the Gemini Studios. And secondly, the things he was talking about, perhaps communism or democracy or some such things, they were beyond the understanding of the normal people at the studios. Sixth and the last, why is the Englishman's visit referred to as unexplained mystery? Obviously, because no one understood the purpose of his coming, no one understood his speech, so it was not at all clear why he had come, what he wanted to say, and what was the reason behind his visit. Then the last box on page number 65, the first question here, who was the English visitor to the studios? Now we know his name. He was Stephen Spender. Second, how did the author discover who the English visitor to the studios was? If you remember, the author later participated in a short story contest organized by the English periodical The Encounter. Before sending his entry for the competition, he decided to explore more about this magazine. So he went to the British Council Library and went through some past issues of the magazine, and there he saw the name of the editor. It was Stephen Spender. Then he realized the identity of the visitor. And third and the last, what does the God that failed refer to? If you remember, this was the title of a book which the writer purchased at a discount, and this book was issued, these cheap copies were issued on the occasion of 50th anniversary of the Russian Revolution. They had essays by 6 authors, and all those 6 authors once were supporters of communism but later turned against it. So the God in the title refers to the ideology of communism. It's communism which has been called the God that failed. The question arises, why? Because at that time communism was seen as the answer to all the problems of the world, but later on these writers realized that it was not actually so. After this, we come to the back end exercises. You can go through the back end exercises and its answers will be given to you in the form of a worksheet. As a policy, we do not discuss these back end exercises in detail because they are not in the nature of questions that are usually asked in the examinations. So we end this chapter here along with a worksheet containing the answers to these questions, which you can then review.